Hola a todos, hoy vamos a aprender sobre la comida. So hello to everyone, today we're going to learn about healthy eating food. Okay, so para empezar tenemos la lista de vocabulario. Vamos a traducir las frases, okay? Vamos a traducir las frases. So you've got your list of vocabulary. Now I'll pause the video here and then you can do it as a mind map or you can do it on flashcards. Just make a note of the vocab and what they are. It might also be useful if you can group them as well in terms of their dietary names. So for example, you might put all of the proteins together, you might put all of the dairy products together, and then once you've done that you can continue with the video. Okay, so here you can see the list of vocabulary that we'll be using for the next 3 lessons. You can check off the translations that you've done and you can also add to your list. So I would pause the video here and check what you've done. Once you've done that, you can carry on to the next slide. Ok, aquí tenemos una lista de alimentos o tipos de alimentos. Vamos a escribir una lista de alimentos para cada grupo. Por ejemplo, para frutas y verduras podemos escribir una manzana o fresas, algo así. So, for the numbers 1 to 5, you're going to write a list of foods that go with each groups. So the example I gave was for group number 3, fruit and vegetables. And I said you could do apples or strawberries, manzanas or fresas. You can use the vocab from the previous slides to help you. I would spend around 8 minutes doing that. So again, you just need to pause the video and then you can carry on. También tenemos la extensión, ¿qué comes para llevar una vida sana? Escribe al menos 40 palabras. So what do you eat in order to lead a healthy life? Write at least 40 words, okay? Okay, so moving on, ahora vamos a traducir 1, 2, 3 y 4 al inglés. Traducimos al inglés. So we're going to translate 1 to 4 into English. The key words have been highlighted in yellow to help you, so you can go back and you can have a look what these are on the vocab sheets from the first couple of slides. So pause the video here and then we will go through it. Okay, so going through these translations then, for the first one we've got, I eat a lot of fruit because they contain vitamins and are rich in fibre. So lots of cognates in there. Fruta contiene vitaminas, rica, lots of words that we would be able to understand what they are without ever really being taught the word. Pienso que llevo una dieta muy sana. There's that key opinion phrase there, pienso que, I think that. Intento comer pocos dulces, ya que el azúcar no es muy sano. So I try to eat few sweet things. Ya que, now remember ya que is another way of saying porque. It's another one of our links, a because word. So in this sentence it means since. So since sugar isn't very healthy. The second one, mi dieta no es muy variada, so my diet isn't very varied. Again, a nice cognate there. Pero como mucho pescado, so I eat a lot of fish. Ya que, so again it's appeared, since, lleva muchas proteínas, so it has, well, it carries essentially a lot of proteins. Me encanta el queso, I love cheese, pero lo intento evitar. Now remember that lo isn't anything to be confused or worried about. Lo just means it. So in this instance, we're saying, but I try to avoid it, so we're referring back to the cheese, porque contiene mucha grasa, because it contains a lot of fat. Number 3, no puedo comer ni pan ni cereales. So that's a lovely way to start that ni structure. So I can't eat neither bread nor cereals. Remember the ni noun. We're doing neither nor. Porque soy alérgico al gluten. I think that's nice, easy there. I've got the alérgico as the cognate because I'm allergic to gluten. Pero como muchas verduras porque son ricas en minerales. Well, we already know son ricas en fibra is they are rich in fiber. So son ricas en minerales because they are rich in minerals. Minerals, essentially salt. 4, suelo comer. You know how much I love it when we use suelo. It's one of our highest structures and it's always followed by the infinitive. So I usually eat enough meat. Suelo comer bastante carne. Sobre todo. Now, if we were on Google Translate doing this, which we shouldn't be, sobre todo might not come up correct. It might come about as about all, but sobre todo is a set phrase and it means above all. So above all, jamón y salami, so ham and salami. Lo que, we know that means what. Lo que no es mal sano, which isn't very unhealthy, aunque contiene bastante sal. However, it contains enough salt. Lo peor de mi dieta es la mantequilla. The worst thing about my diet is butter. No la como a menudo. I don't eat it often. Now, the reason why it's la and not lo, so we mentioned the lo before, for lo intento evitar, because it's referring to the butter, and the butter is singular feminine, so it's la. No la como a menudo porque sé, same meaning I know, so I don't eat it very often because I know that es pura grasa, it's pure fat. Okay? So, hopefully you did well on those. And we're going to move on to this activity here. So what you're going to do now is, I'm going to stop talking. You're going to have a go at filling in the gaps for 1 to 8 using the words from the bottom by reading Timo, Soraya and Isabel's text. If you get stuck on the right of the screen, you can see that I've put in some key words just to help you. So have a go now at translating those, at filling in the gaps for 1 to 8. And then I will put the answers on and you can self-assess your work. Okay, so pause the video now. Okay, so on the screen now, you can see the answers. So for number 1, we've got verduras. 2 is reduce. 3 come. 4 proteínas. 5 equilibrada. 6 come. 7 deliciosa. Y 8 una dieta, so dieta, okay? Okay, so we're going to move on to lesson 2, so we can pause the video here. I would have a break. You could pick this up tomorrow or the day after that, but definitely have a break at this point, but you want to try and get through this 3-part series this week. So shortly we'll be moving on to lesson 2. Okay, so for lesson 2, we're looking at living life to the full. So this is the vocab page that you will need to have a look at. I would make a mind map of this. I would put this information into flashcards or make sentences out of it. Do something with this information which will help you revise and get used to it. You could do some images around it, do some posters. It might be quite a nice idea if you took, for example, an anti-smoking or an anti-drinking poster and you designed a new one using some of these phrases here, okay? So, para empezar, vamos a leer el texto y contestar las preguntas. So we're going to read the text and then we're going to answer the questions. And I've also put in brackets as well how many sort of words you need to find for each answer. For the first one, there are 3 words that you need to include. Y 5, para la extensión, vamos a traducir las palabras en negrita. So we're going to translate the words in bold for the extension. Okay? So pause the video here and take a moment just to work out the answers. Okay, so we're going to go through the answers together then. So what does he like to eat? Well, we can see in the second line he says, me gusta comer. So straight away, nice and clear, I like to eat. Verduras, fruta y pescado. So we know that is vegetables, fruit and fish. What does he never eat? Now, that word there, we're looking for never. And if we scroll down to the 4th line, you can see where it says nunca como. Nunca being never. So I never eat productos que son altos en colesterol. Reading that word, cholesterol, it sounds exactly like the English and it looks like the English. Alto, if we think back to year 7 when we were describing ourselves as either alto or bajo, alto is tall, okay? So in this sense, it's not tall, but high, so high in cholesterol. So he doesn't eat products that are high in cholesterol. No como ni chocolate ni dulces. Now that's that neither nor, isn't it? So he doesn't eat chocolate or sweets. After that, we've got the third one. What sports does he do? So if we have a look down, he says, en general hago bastante ejercicio. Sin embargo, cuando era más joven, jugaba al tenis más y iba al gimnasio todos los días. So it says he does exercise. It says in the past he used to play tennis and he used to go to the gym every day. It also says as well, down the bottom, about what he'll do in the future, which sort of goes in nicely to the fourth one. What is he going to do in the future? And he says, no tengo ningún vicio. En el futuro seguiré comiendo saludable y haré ejercicio por lo menos 3 veces a la semana. So in this section here, he's saying, I don't have like a vice, so I don't have anything that he's addicted to. In the future, I will continue eating healthily and I will do exercise at least 3 times a week. Por lo menos means at least. If we go through the words in bold, por lo tanto is such as, or it also can mean as well, therefore. We know the ni is neither nor, and sin embargo is however. Okay, so what you're going to do now is you're going to read through these sentences and you're going to write down what the problems are with each person and how they want to change their lifestyle. And you can see that you've got the key there to help you as well. So if you look at the first one together, we'll just do the first problem. Cuando tengo sed, siempre bebo refrescos. Now, if you go back to the slide 9, where you've got the vocab from today's lesson, you can also go back as well to the vocab on slide 3, on the third slide, where you've got the list. There are phrases there that will help you doing this, and obviously you can use wordreference.com. So, cuando tengo sed, when I am thirsty, siempre bebo refrescos. Now, we know from doing our list of vocab in the beginning of the week, refrescos means fizzy drinks. So when he's thirsty, he always drinks fizzy drinks, which obviously isn't good. It's a problem because of how much sugar they contain. So you're literally just going through and making notes. So pause the video here, use wordreference.com to help you with any vocab you're not sure of, and then we'll come back and do the answers together. Okay, so you can see here on the slide that you have got all of the answers listed. I'm not going to talk through them. If you just pause the video here and go through 1 to 3, and then if you've got any comments on these or you're a little bit stuck, you can email your teacher. Okay, on slide 13 here, we have got a reading text, and then what you're going to do is you're going to read through the text and answer questions 1 to 5, and then send the answers to your teacher. If you get stuck, at the top in the blue box, you've got some vocabulary to help you. Also, as a challenge, if you could answer in Spanish, that would be brilliant as well. Okay? If you've done that really quickly, you can have a go at translating the text to English. So pause the video here, and then we will go through the answers. Okay, so let's go through this together and then you can mark off your work. Okay, so according to the article, what should a balanced breakfast consist of? So it says here, solo un 7,5% de los niños en España toman un desayuno adecuado compuesto por hidratos de carbono, lácteos y fruta. So, un desayuno adecuado, like an adequate breakfast, so essentially like a balanced breakfast, And it's saying that it should consist of carbohydrates, dairy and fruit. From the hidratos de carbono, lácteos y fruta. What percentage of children skip breakfast altogether? El 8% de los niños se salta. So that verb there, se salta, skip. That's the key phrase we're looking for. So 8%, 8% of children completely skip breakfast. And then what do 59.5% of Spanish children do? Well, we can see that figure, can't we, in the text? And it says with them, los niños dedica menos de 10 minutos a su desayuno. Dedica is like a cognate, isn't it? So 59.5% of children dedicate less, menos, de 10 minutos a su desayuno. So they dedicate basically 10 minutes or less to their breakfast. What can happen in school as a result of not eating a good breakfast? Uno de los efectos del saltar, is that verb again of skipping. Uno de los efectos del saltar el desayuno es la disminución de la atención en las primeras horas de clase. Okay, so lots of big words in there. We've got disminución de la atención, and we can see that at the top in the blue box, lack of attention. En las primeras horas de clase, so it's talking about the lack of attention pupils might have in the first hours of class. What is the connection between obesity and breakfast? And if we have a look down here, it says, también se ha demostrado que el fenómeno de la obesidad es más alto en las personas que no toman un desayuno equilibrado. Now, we spoke about that word alto before and how it means high. So if we just sort of skip forward from la obesidad, obesity is much higher in people that no toma means don't take, but in this sense it's don't have a balanced diet. Okay, so you can always rewind and check some of that vocab. Okay, so a little bit of a game to finish off then. You need to decide if 1 to 10 are true or false. So you need to correct the false advice. Se debe means you must. So no se debe means you mustn't. So for example, se debe dormir 8 horas. You must sleep for 8 hours. So is that one verdadero o falso? Claro es verdadero. You should sleep 8 hours, shouldn't you? So go through 1 to 10 and just decide, are they verdadero o falso? Okay, so you can see here which ones are true. You can freeze the video here, which ones are false. Obviously, this is subject to personal, what you prefer, your preference. But just generally, we know we should be sleeping for 8 hours. Number 3, we know that we should be avoiding too much coffee. And number 5, we know that we shouldn't take the lift. We should try and walk. There's some really good phrases in there for you to use. And one last little activity as well is you can pause the video here and you can actually work out how healthy you are. So what you're trying to do is you're going to work out your points based on how often you do an activity. So if we do the first one together, the first one says, estoy haciendo mucho deporte. I'm doing a lot of sport. So you're going to decide, is it sí, you always do lots of sport, which is 5 points, de vez en cuando, which is sometimes, which is 2 points, or no, which is 0 points. And I also want you to see if you can put the verb in. So what is the verb in that sentence? Well, estoy haciendo, I am doing. And haciendo comes from the verb hacer, which means to do. So you're also going to see as an extension if you can put in the verb. So we've got the next one as well. Estoy jugando al rugby y football. From that one, we've got I am playing rugby and football, and the verb is jugar. So again, you're just going to work out the points and put those through. So pause the video now, and then you can see what points you get. Okay, so let's go through the verbs then. So hopefully you've worked out what your score is. Hopefully no one is... Al doctor contigo tienes muchos problemas. So hopefully no one's going to the doctor. But let's have a look at what the verbs are. So we've got haciendo, hacer. Jugando comes from the verb jugar. So that would be quite a few of them. Estoy yendo, so like going. So from the verb ir. We've also got bebiendo from the verb beber. Comiendo from the verb comer. Durmiendo from the verb dormir. Evitando, which is like avoiding from the verb evitar, and then that would be all of them. Okay, so you can pause the video here and carry on, or you can move on to lesson 3 tomorrow, pick it up from there, whatever way you want